are on our way to go get my grandparents. It's almost as if we're going to Disney because we got the Disney video going. My mom's driving. You would think we're going to Disney, but we're going to Scotland!
The kids' play area.
Yeah?
Stop ticketing for passengers. Please make your way to B.
See you in London.
Enjoyable and as comfortable as they possibly can. Of course, I would remind you though that they are here primarily for safety without reminding on a subject of safety, so remind you there's a note smoking right around and a little note on the seatbelt. It's a night flight, so they don't do
Say hi. Say hi.
Can I suggest that you pop
Behind me, we have finally made it to Scotland. I ended up not filming the second part of the travel video because it was honestly pretty chaotic. Going from Heathrow to Glasgow, the one big learning curve was security in America is very different than security at Heathrow. And in America, they were telling me, put everything back in the bag, put laptop back in the bag, put liquids back in the bag. And it was because of the new security systems that they have that scan everything. But then whenever we got to Heathrow, they were like, no, every single liquid needs to come out. And so then it just kind of wasn't expecting to go through security again, since we were just going to our other gate, but they make the international flights go through security again, not just through customs. So that was a big surprise. So then everything was kind of scattered. Not where it was supposed to be, which when traveling with a baby, you want to be pretty organized. So that one just threw a little bit of a curveball. And then once we got to the gate and we're boarding the flight at Heathrow, even though it's the hub for British Airways, you have to get on and off the plane on the tarmac. So you have to go up a bunch of stairs, and just was not ready for that. As you can see, how I was carrying everything was putting it in the stroller, just to make it easier, because we really did travel with more carry-ons versus checked luggage. Even though Lyle and I both were allowed to have 2 checked bags, we really only had the one big suitcase that we checked, and then a carry-on checked as well. And then we each had 2 carry-ons plus the stroller. So that's definitely a note for on the way back. Which on the way back, I'm not going to have so many clothes just in case if luggage gets lost, so that we wouldn't be without something for days. And so that's something that, since we're going back to America, it's fine if we have to go a few days without our luggage, because we're back home. So that would be a big difference, I think, with the amount of carry-on luggage that I had, especially now knowing that you have to get on and off the plane on the actual tarmac. And since my grandmother was in a wheelchair, this is where chaos happened. Once we landed in Glasgow, they took my grandmother out the front of the plane because the people in wheelchairs, they took off the plane as normal, but then everyone else got off the back and down the stairs. And so I had to go down the back, and my grandfather helped me carry my stuff off the back of the plane, but then they had my grandfather go with my grandmother. And then I was the very last person off the plane because they told me to hold on, you wait till the end, and then we'll help you. Well, it came to it, and they just left me wearing Lila and all of my bags on the runway. So thankfully, one of the plane directing guys, I can't, my mind is done, but that also gets the baggage off and on the plane. He saw me and he was like, there's no way, and he helped me carry my bags, which then I'm so thankful. I feel so bad for this guy because British Airways really expected me to climb up 3 flights of stairs wearing my daughter, plus the 2 each, so 4 carry-ons, which was a diaper bag, the crossbody, and then the 2 pull along carry-ons, which still did not have a stroller at this point. And I think what was even more frustrating was I didn't even mention this part. So as we were getting on the flight, they ended up changing our seats last minute, which is fine, whatever, but we're the first group to board, and they change our seats and tell me I can't take my stroller, and they separate me and my grandparents from each other. My grandmother and grandfather went on bus with people with wheelchairs, and then I went on the bus with everyone else that was boarding in the first group, and they were like, no, you can't take the stroller, there's not going to be enough room. Completely understand. I mean, that's pretty common. But then once we got on the plane, full families had strollers on the plane, so it just was pretty aggravating that me as a single mom, I had to take everything off the stroller and carry everything whenever families who have the extra help or extra hands were able to take their stroller. So that was very frustrating. And then also just being separated from my grandparents whenever you don't have, I mean, while we're there, our phones weren't working yet, so it was just a little aggravating, to say the least. So then back to where we were at in the story and getting off the plane and having to carry everything, I'm so thankful, because there's no way I would have been able to carry those bags up 3 flights of stairs by myself. And I felt so bad for that guy because I had a complete breakdown in the stairway, and I was like, this has nothing to do with you, you don't even work for British Airways, and I'm so appreciative that you're helping me carry this stuff up. But we finally get to the top, and I see my grandfather in a panic, and I'm like, where's Nanny? And he was like, I'm trying to find talking to the British Airways people, I'm trying to find my wife. She was taken up here to get a wheelchair, because they kind of got separated for a little bit while he was helping carry my stuff down off the plane. She was coming up here to get a wheelchair, and they were like, there's not been anyone that's needed wheelchair assistance up here. Nobody's gotten in a wheelchair. We've not seen anybody come up through this way. So then we're in a pure panic. Where's my grandmother? So then I tell him to go to head to baggage claim. Hopefully they just weren't paying attention and just didn't know what was going on, and hopefully somebody took her to baggage claim, which ended up being the case. But then I'm dropping everything everywhere so it's taking me a long time. So then my grandparents start worrying about me because it's taking me a rather long time, and I couldn't find my phone because everything's just in a complete jumbled mess. And they end up being able to see me at one point through a glass window, and I'm just complete breakdown. So I've talked to British Airways since, and they said they couldn't do anything about what has happened on this past flight until after I have my return flight. But they did make a note that I should not be traveling without the stroller. It was not, and I don't like to say this, but it wasn't fair. I mean, out of all people to pinpoint saying, hey, you can't have a stroller, and I get it if the flight is full, but I was the first group to board, and I wasn't even allowed to take it on. And it was bought specifically because it fits in the overhead of British Airways flights. And then once I get out to my grandparents, and the stroller that was just bought for this flight so that it would fit in the overhead, it was completely filthy. You can tell it had been thrown around. a brand new stroller, just completely, yeah. So not too happy, and so just needed a little bit of time to decompress. And so we're sitting out here on my grandparents' beautiful balcony with a glass of wine, finally decompressing. But I would say the big takeaways were definitely try to travel with as light of carry-on. I'm probably only going to take her jet kids because that was really successful, and try to put as much as I can in that, and having the diaper bag, using that as my carry-on, and then just checking everything else. It could be tough on the way to somewhere just because you do have that what if my luggage gets lost, but just knowing the situation at hand, I would have rather have lost my luggage than, and it was almost as if British Airways just did not care. They didn't care that my grandmother was lost. They didn't care that we all got separated in 3 different ways at one point. They didn't care that they left me on the tarmac with all of my luggage down there by myself, and then to carry it up 3 sets of stairs. It was just quite the experience. So I'm just really glad that we're now here, and we just went grocery shopping and really starting to get settled. So yeah, that was traveling with the baby. Definitely feel like that probably was the hardest travel I'll ever have to do with Lila while flying. Hopefully it always gets easier from here, which as you do it more, you learn and adapt. That is a part of it. So definitely have learned and will adapt to worst case scenario, so then it's always going to end up being the better case scenario. So there are some of my tips. I hope you enjoyed some of them, and if you did, and I would love to hear about your experiences too, so comment those down below. But if you liked any of the tips, let me know. Hit the like button, subscribe if you haven't already subscribed, if you like anything about traveling with the baby. I do a lot of Disney with the baby, but it's really just traveling with a baby. So subscribe, hit that bell to get notified whenever I do post a new video, and I hope that y'all really enjoy the upcoming videos I have from Scotland. I cannot wait to have baby girl meet the rest of family and some friends that I've made while over here. Got a lot of really exciting things, but until then, we'll see you guys. Bye.